Hi, everybody. My name's Tom Zellman. I'm here to talk about Ember CLI. Before I get started, I'm just curious, how many of you have not tried using Ember? Okay, cool. Most of you. So my goal here is not to try to convince you to write all your apps in Ember. I'm hoping that by the end of the talk you know enough about Ember and Ember CLI, the tooling around it, that you give it a try. And maybe it will be the right tool for you. And maybe you'll learn something that you can apply to your current stack. So with that, quick intro to Ember. So like most MVC, MV star frameworks, Ember has some idioms. You got your models, your views, your controllers. Ember has a router and the concept of components, which allow you to sort of abstract or encapsulate reusable things within your application. And in Ember, your models store your persistent state, so the type of state that you want to store in a database. Your views are primarily templates using HTML bars. And controllers store more of your application state, your application logic. Is something enabled? What should I do when something is clicked in the template? And the router is sort of your states within your application. So if you guys are familiar with MVC apps, it's kind of, it's pretty similar to other frameworks. So the goal of Ember CLI is to sort of, it's a tool to let you focus more on your application, your business logic. It manages the build, test, deploy lifecycle. It helps you generate scaffolding or generate code so you don't have to write as much. It has a pretty sweet add-on platform. So from the get-go, you can start using code other people wrote within your Ember application. And it also allows you to easily share your code with others. And there's a bunch of other things I could probably talk for an hour here, but convention over configuration. So Ember CLI has a concept of where you drop your resources, much like in Rails. It'll just find things and know how to run the app. And it does pretty much everything, including make your lunch, which is a kind of a joke around the office. So I guess the point here is that if you're going to write Ember apps, you should be using Ember CLI just because it's going to make your life easier. You'll get up, off the ground running much faster. Ember had more of a steep learning curve a couple of years ago, but now I think with Ember CLI you can write an app in a matter of minutes. So let's just get started. First step is to install Ember CLI in your global packages, and then you guys know the other two steps. So here's an example of creating a new app. Ember new, the name of your application. It generates the project structure for you and runs npm install, bower install, and initializes a new Git repository with all of those resources as your first commit. So you can start making changes and not worry about, was this auto-generated for me? Or, so it kind of sets that up for you. Ember serve. So to kind of finish the hello world example, this is probably the second thing you're going to run to see some results. Ember serve builds your resources, watches them, creates a server running on default port 4200, and will update and rebuild whenever you make changes. It also runs a live reload server so you can see your browser refresh whenever you make changes in your code. And so the add-on abilities within Ember CLI, you can generate all kinds of cool stuff. So here's 3 quick examples. There's a generate command within Ember CLI. Ember generate route home. This creates some files within my directory structure, including tests. This second example will create a component. Maybe I want to create a blog, and this will create a blog post component in the right spot, and so on. Really scratching the surface here. So here's a full list of sort of batteries included blueprints or generators that you can use to generate part of your app. And one thing I kind of like that Ember provides, or Ember CLI provides, is the server. So if you're writing an application and you want to sort of mock up your back end, and you don't want to use front end fixtures, you can create a server here which just hands you an Express server. So it's really a cool way to sort of prototype and get a real live back end in your app. I'm going to skip past this. Add-ons, here's an example of using an add-on. You just install it like any other package, and then all of a sudden, voila, you've got access to any generators that the add-on may have. Add-ons are cool because they can provide new generators. Your app can import directly from the add-on that you're using, or if there's anything within the app structure of your add-on, it gets injected directly into your application. So if I'm using an add-on that has a cool like slideshow component, I can start using it directly in my templates. And I'll skip past creating a new add-on. Ember CLI sort of included Broccoli, Babel, so you can write ES6, ES7, a pretty robust testing ability, and great community. It's probably not as big as some of the other ones, but it's really, I find it to be very encouraging. So definitely check out the documentation, and I think you'll have a good time.